is it worth it? Is it worth it?
Welcome to Impact and Fulfillment with Coach Mike D, where you'll gain practical wisdom and dynamic insight from amazing conversations to live your best life.
Yo, dig this. It's your boy, Coach Mike D, with another episode of Impact and Fulfillment. Pray y'all are well. Pray you're making the most of this moment. And this is being released the day after the Super Bowl. If you're in America and you're listening to this, did the person you wanted to win the Super Bowl win? And if not, are you super disappointed? Or was it a good game? You know, I'm recording this before the Super Bowl even happens. This is actually my projection or prediction. I predict that the Philadelphia Eagles will win the Super Bowl. Going out on a limb here, but I think they will win it. I know a lot of the momentum is around Kansas City and the three-peat and all of that. And I think they'll win more in the future, but I think this one is going to the Eagles, in my opinion. But anyway, at the release of this, we will know. Interesting. But I got a question to you all, and not necessarily in line with the Super Bowl, but just in line with life itself. And that question is it worth it? Is it worth it? You know, so many activities and so many investments and so many things that take place in our lives, we don't take an inventory after the fact and evaluate whether or not that thing was worth it. Sometimes we just continue to live life, right? We don't take a moment to, you know, just to reflect, because a lot of times we continue taking part in various activities, in going places and hanging out with certain people and doing this and doing that. But if we don't take an inventory every so often of the result or the impact of the activities, the investments, the affiliations, etc., we don't always know whether or not the actions that we take are worth it. And again, it's going to be different for everybody, because, you know, to some, one thing might be worth it. To somebody else, it's like, that's kind of a waste, right? This is like a personal filter that you have to run things through. Is it worth it? And full transparency, we should make sure that everything that we're affiliated with, that we purchase, that we, you know, give our time to, that we give our heart and our attention to, we need to make sure that everything is worth it. Now, is everything going to be worth it once we take inventory? Absolutely not. We're going to waste a lot of time. We're going to waste a lot of money, right? You know what would, if you really stop and think about it, this will really make you sick, right? Like if you really think about it. How much money have you spent over the course of your life over a bad meal or on bad meals? Meaning after you've eaten the food, you're like, this really wasn't worth it. How much money have you spent over the course of your life on that? It's crazy, right? Looking back on it, like how much money or how much time have you spent going places that at the end of the day were like, this really was not worth it. Like when you start taking an inventory of your life, you start to realize like, dang, like I probably spend more time and money on stuff that isn't worth it than things that are worth it, right? It's just a reality, like the balance. But then when you think about the concept of the 80-20 rule, where 80% of the results tend to come from 20% of the investments or 20% of the work itself, it kind of makes sense, right? A lot of your upside, a lot of your wins are not going to come from the vast majority of the work that you put in. The vast majority of the work that you put in might really come back to nothing, right? But when something wins, those wins supersede all the losses or all the waste, right? Or all the time wasted, money wasted, etc. The wins that you have supersede all of those, right? But even still, understanding that the vast majority of the stuff that you're affiliated with, when you look back on it, was kind of like, really wasn't worth it. That still should not stop us from taking action and being involved in things, right? Because then you end up putting yourself in a position in which you don't do anything, right? Then you start, becoming very conservative in how you operate, and you just don't take action, don't get involved in things, don't participate. And then you don't have a body of work anyway. So then it's like, that's even worse, right? But I said all of this to say, the vast majority of the things that you affiliated with, or the vast majority of things that you spend your money on, when you look back on it, probably will not be worth it. But sometimes you have to have those experiences to get to the experiences and the investments and the opportunities that actually are worth it. And in those seemingly, less valuable experiences, etc., you learn lessons. And so, yes, there might not be a tangible payoff, but with the lessons learned, you gain perspective, which actually allows you to handle the wins better. Again, take an inventory of whether or not it's worth it. And if it's not worth it, don't get down about it, because again, like I mentioned, the vast majority of the things that you're affiliated with are probably not going to be worth it. Reframe how you perceive it and look at the loss, or look at the experience that really wasn't worth it. Look at it through the lens of what lessons were learned. What did I gain from this that I can now take forward so that I maybe don't repeat this again, right? Or what's something that's gained from that I can kind of put into my arsenal that as I move forward will help me to further maximize wins, right? It's a lot of stuff there, but it starts first with you really taking an inventory of whether or not something is worth it. And, but again, give yourself some grace, because the vast majority of the stuff is not going to be worth it. But that's kind of the human experience, right? And, the human experience is not efficient, but if you're willing to learn, it will be very effective. All right. Well, I hope this is something that is pretty interesting. I hope my prediction came true when it comes to the Super Bowl. That's kind of what I'm hoping. But if it doesn't, it is what it is. It's just a game, and it really doesn't mean much to me. It's not like I'm betting on it or anything. So it is what it is. But yeah, man, I hope you all are making the most of it. But really, take an inventory and reflect on the fact of whether or not something is worth it. And if it's not worth it, don't get down on yourself. Give yourself some grace and really identify what were the lessons learned. All right? Because those things will carry you forward. And you actually might realize that I actually gain more in a loss than I do in a win, because of the lessons learned and the wisdom that I can now apply as I move forward. So hope this really helps you all, because again, this is all about impact and fulfillment, helping you live the life that you're designed to live, and do so at a very high level. And until next time, y'all be blessed, well, and wise. Have an amazing day. I'll holler at you. Peace.
I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and follow Coach Mike D everywhere on social media. Y'all be blessed, well, and wise.